Hello and welcome to the penultimate episode of our first season of Interstorm Games Presents. Today we're going to cover the next 5 games, 10 through 6, because we are in the top 10. This is it. We've hit the top 10. We've gone through 90 other games. Oh my gosh, 90 other games. I can't even believe that. So this is it. We're going to do, like I said, we're going to do numbers 10 through 6 right now. Piper is not with us at this moment. Mike is behind the camera. Piper's watching. She figures Scooby-Doo over games. Hopefully she'll come join us in a bit. But we'll not going to wait around for her. We're going to go ahead and get started, and let's kick it off with number 10.
10 Dominion.
Is as I lug it over here from the side. This is a very heavy box because it's full of games, or not full of games. It's full of a game and some expansions, but it's Dominion. Dominion, the granddaddy of deck builder games. Dominion that has several expansions. Dominion that has, there's a core rule book. There's an expansion. 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 Look, another expansion. And yes, one more expansion. This box, by the way, is full of cards. I think if they come out with one more expansion, I'm not going to be able to get it because I'll have no place to put it. Oh, so if you've never played Dominion before, it's essentially a deck builder game. Is a game where you start out with a small hand of cards, usually 10 to 12, depending on the game. In Dominion, it's 10. 7 of those are going to be a coin. Copper, worth 1 coin each. And you're also going to have 3 victory points in your hand, which right now, at the end of the game, they'll be worth 3 victory points. But during the course of the game, they're nothing but getting in the way of what you want in your hand. As each turn, you're going to have the opportunity to do 1 action and 1 purchase. And so for that purchase, you're going to have in the middle of the table several cards, several stacks of cards. And for instance, here's the Adventurer. So the Adventurer would be a stack of cards, and as you can see, every card in that stack is exactly the same. So you'd have 10 different stacks out there. And once again, as I can show you, there are a lot of combinations that you can do for those cards in the middle of the deck. The rules for each expansion actually come with several suggestions to help kind of get you into the theme of that expansion. As each expansion does have a theme. The core Dominion rules are just basic setups. They give you some for, like, if you want to spend more money, if you want to accumulate more points, you have more actions, you want a game that's a little bit more interactive, a little bit more cutthroat between players who are attacking each other more. And that's one of the things that made Dominion so great, was that you could tailor the game, each game, to how you want it to be. If you wanted more interaction, put in more interactive cards. If you want less interaction, don't put them in. It was that simple. After that came Intrigue. Intrigue started adding a little bit more interaction, a little bit more things you can do with the cards beyond just the basic +1 action, +1 purchase. Seaside, when Seaside came out, that introduced the delayed cards. So you would play a card from your hand as an action, but you also get to spin that action again in the next turn. And that was something kind of pretty neat and became a very, very popular card. Alchemy, probably the weakest one of the, in my opinion anyway, one of the weakest of the expansions. They introduced potions, but with potions, in order to buy certain cards that had a potion symbol on it, you had to draw that potion into your hand, which, if you wanted to focus on getting potions, or like maybe if all you're doing was playing the alchemy deck, that was great. Otherwise, in my opinion, the potions just became more junk in your hand that you have to get rid of at some point. Oh, what else we got? Cornucopia. Cornucopia was the expansion where they wanted you to have different things in your hand. So instead of like going and buying all the same type of card, you want to have a smattering of different cards, and you're rewarded for having various variety of cards in your hand. That was kind of a nice change of pace, give you something a little bit more to focus on. Dark Ages, not Dark Angels. It's a different game altogether. Dark Ages focuses on the trash. Each game you can trash a card from your hand each turn. If you do nothing else, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to trash a card from my hand, and that's just a way to get rid of, again, the junk out of your deck, so you can get to the better cards faster. And so Dark Ages focuses on cards that really do that. They focus on trashing them out, getting them back in. The Hinterlands. What all the Hinterlands? I just picked this one up recently. Well, not recently, several months ago, like last year sometime. But Hinden's focus on the scaling. You can make your world larger, smaller, number of things. But here's the one right here, prosperity. Prosperity, if you're going to get any expansion for this game besides Seaside, it's got to be prosperity, because prosperity introduced the colony, which is worth 10 points, as opposed to the state and the duchy and the province, which are 1, 3, and 6 respectively. And 10 points, it also added in platinum, in addition to copper, silver, and gold, where copper was worth 1 coin, 1 copper. Silver would spend 2, and gold would spend worth 3. Well, platinum was worth 5. That's pretty sweet to get those 5 cards. I mean, you want to get money fast, you want to be able to buy stuff left and right. Boom, prosperity right there. That's the way to go. And that's essentially a brief overview of the game itself. It's one of the best gateway games out there because it can be played very easily. You can put some very simple cards in there. It's very simple to explain. It's very simple to teach. But it can also be very complex depending on which combinations you do. And admittedly, some combinations do work better than others. You'll find sometimes, depending on what you put out there, people will avoid some cards like the Plague because they just don't work with everything else that's out there. But if you want to play Dominion, I'll play Dominion with you. If you don't own Dominion, well, I don't know why you wouldn't. If you've watched this far and you don't own Dominion, you need to go get Dominion. At least the base set, at least Seaside, and at least Prosperity. The others, they add some variety. I think Intrigue actually gives you all the core cards again, which actually came in handy because somebody accidentally spilled their drink all over my core set of cards, so all my estates and gold got all waterlogged. Because yes, I know, I don't protect my cards, but look at that. I don't have time to protect my cards. Not to mention it would double or triple their size and they would not fit in this box. At any rate, without beating around the bush anymore, Dominion's my number 10. It's a fantastic, fantastic game. If you don't own it, if you've never played it, go check it out. It's definitely worth your effort. Dominion.
Number 9, Small World.
Alright, my number 9 game is also one that's had several expansions, and I keep it in 2 boxes. That's Small World. Small World and its sequel, Small World Underground, is an area control game where you're going to be controlling a race of some kind for a small portion of the game. And I say that because you have a limited number of tiles, if you will, for your race. I'll reach in here and just grab a couple here. So this is looks like pygmies. So you have a certain number of pygmy tiles, and once you run out of those pygmy tiles, you're going to have to retire your race and send them into decline, and then you can take another race. Well, that's okay because each race has a special power assigned to that race. But in addition to that, each race will also have, as I reach into this other box, because again, as I said, this game is so massive with all its expansions. So let's show you here a torn bag. But as I reach into the torn bag, you can see these are each of the races. Not each of them, but some of them. And so they're each going to have an ability of some kind listed on their race card. So each race you have is going to get some kind of special ability. But as I said, they don't just have that ability, they'll have an additional ability. They might be pillaging, they might be berserk, they might be hordes of your race. Your race might be corrupt, or it might be wealthy. There's tons. Look, here, look at this even more. Look. Those are all the various powers that your race can have, in addition to, look, there's more races in that bag, and more races in this bag. Again, another game where the combinations are just endless. What's going to happen in the game, though, is you're going to take your race, and you're going to combine it with the power. So you might have Historian Wizards. You might have Swamp Humans. Isn't there like an A&E show about that? But you're going to take that race and you're going to build as far as you can on a board, depending on the number of players, to be the board you use. But the board's going to be divided up into the different regions, and so you're going to take over each region with your tiles. Now, it's called Small World for a reason, because the regions are set up so that, and if this is a 3-player board, 3 people aren't going to fit on here. The first player will definitely fit on here. The second one might fit on here, depending on what race he picks. The third guy is going to have to fight for his space. And so after that first turn, that's what's going to happen. It's going to be fighting the whole rest of the game as races are taking over other races, trying to stop other races from taking them over. For every space you get a victory point. But your victory points are also your currency, so when you have to buy a new race, you have to spend those victory points to possibly get a new race. You don't have to, but the race is going to be lined up one after the other, so there'll be 6 of them in a row. If you want to take the first one, you can take the first one, no problem. If you want to take the one behind it, you have to put a victory point on the one you're passing over to take the one behind it. So if you want one that's but you want the number 6, you're like, oh my gosh, that's the best combination that you can get. I'm going to spend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 victory points to jump to that race. I don't know if I'd recommend that. Victory points can be kind of hard to come by near the end of the game. And I won't say they're hard to come by, but they can become very precious near the end of the game as people are trying to eke out as many areas they can during that last turn. This is one of those games, the first time I played it, I didn't really care for it. I didn't think it was that great a game. The second time I played it, I didn't think it was that great a game. The third time I played it, it started to grow on me. The 4th, 5th, 6th time, right by now, I love this game. This is one of those that I will never ever get rid of this game. I think it's great. I wish there's more for it. Actually, there is more for it. It's not here. It's called Small World Realms, where if you don't like the boards that come with the game, this is actually the underground board here. Small World Realms comes a modular board, so you can create your own board. It comes with scenarios in the game, so you can set a map. If you don't want to take the time to create your own map, you can set one up that they provided. But there's just so much you can do with this game, so many options. There's even a deck of cards you can get. It's an event deck, so if you don't think the game's complicated enough or difficult enough, you can throw events in there, and the events themselves are rated green, yellow, or red. So if you want an easy event and fortuitous events, go with the green. If you're events that can help you or hurt you, go with the yellow. If you just want the hardest game you can get, there are some red cards in here that will make this game very difficult to progress in, and it's fantastic. The Underground came with special places and special Monty Python fans out there. I'm probably not going to be able to find it now because it just occurred to me, but no, there it is right there. Boom. Does that look familiar to anyone? 1, 2, 5, 4, 3. 3, sir. Thou shalt not count to 5. And thou shalt play Small World. Because like I said, there's so much stuff. I could spend hours and hours talking about this game. It's fantastic. You really got to try it. Check it out. You really got to try it. You're a board game connoisseur. You've got to own this. If you don't own it, I don't understand why you don't. Amazing game. My number 9, Small World.
Here are the Mayan Knights.
Alright, for those of you who are fans of the old Choose Your Own Adventure series, or if you're old enough to remember those, then you must own Tales of the Arabian Nights. Tales of the Arabian Nights is a storytelling game in which you're going to create a story. Yes, there's a point mechanism for how much destiny can you get and how much story can you get. Forget that. Throw that out. They say, pick a random number to play to. We play till 20 every single time because you just can't get enough story. So first, the board itself is a gorgeous. I mean, there's the front, and there's the back. I mean, that alone almost makes the game worth getting. But what makes the game worth getting is not the fancy little people that come. You can be Sinbad, you can be Aladdin. That's pretty cool. But again, that's not what makes the game. There's treasure. That's not what makes the game. There's goals. There's statuses you can receive. But again, that's not what makes the game. This right here, this book of Tales, this is what makes the game. There are 2,600 paragraphs in this book, each one describing a different event that can happen to you. And what's going to happen in the game is you're going to have an encounter. You're going to go to a city and you're going to have an encounter. That simple. But on that encounter is going to tell you where in this book you're going to turn. So I might have an encounter that is a lovesick prince, and that lovesick prince is going to tell me to pick an action off of chart A, or reaction, off of chart A. And so I have this reaction chart. And so I'm going to look at chart A, and it says, for A, I can grovel. I can grovel before the lovesick prince. I can aid him. I can rob him. I can avoid him. I can converse with him. I can attack him. I can court him. I can abduct him, or I can honor him. So I would choose one of those choices. That's what I want to do. I'd also have a set of skills. These are all the available skills. These aren't the skills you start with. These are all the skills you can acquire throughout the game. And the skills can help you or hurt you in some cases, depending on what's happening. But let's say that for purposes, let's say I'm going to aid the lovesick prince. So the person, there's a chart that tells you, it's like a conversion chart. You would find lovesick prince and you would find aid. So there's lovesick, and you would find aid across the top. That would give you a page number or a paragraph number. You would turn to that paragraph and resolve it. And that's it. It's that simple. Sometimes the paragraphs will send you the other paragraphs depending on what choices you make. But it's great. It's just, can you die? Yes, you can die. And what happens? You just come right back again. Like I said, there is a point system. It's there if you want it, or if you have to have a winner in a game. Technically the winner is the one who completes, gets their score, and then gets back to Baghdad first. I personally would just love to sit down when it started at 8 a.m. in the morning and just play through all day long. Forget scores, forget all that stuff. Just what can I do? Where can I send my character? What can I have happen to them? What amazing things. Sometimes you want to focus on one thing. So, and because the choices are different and the skills are different each time, you might have the same encounter, but because you reacted a certain way, it might affect you differently. I love the Choose Your Own Adventures growing up. I love story. When I go see a movie, the acting, and that can affect the movies. Music's awesome. Story. It's all about story. And this game it's story. It's nothing but story. There's another game that came out at the end of the year called Agents of Smersh that does the same thing, kind of a Cold War setting. That'll probably show up on my top 100 next year. But in the meantime, this is just an amazing game. If you don't like storytelling, if you have to have a winner or loser, it's probably not going to appeal to you. I wouldn't recommend going to get it, but I definitely recommend checking it out. If you love story as much as I do, if you just love adventure, settings, those escapes, this is definitely a must-own for you. That's Tales of the Arabian Nights.
Super 7, Waterdeep.
My number 7 game is a new one this year. It's Lords of Waterdeep. As I stand this up and everything has just fallen down. They have a nice train here that holds all the pieces, but it doesn't really hold them in place all that well. But it's great, still great for storage. It's a great idea. Lords of Waterdeep is a worker placement game set in the advanced Dungeons & Dragons, or it's the Dungeons & Dragons world. I guess it's all just Dungeons & Dragons, it's not advanced anymore. And it takes place in the city of Waterdeep. I'm going to stand this up here and see if you can... So here's the city of Waterdeep, and you're going to go around the city as a Lord of Waterdeep. And you're going to hire fighters and clerics and wizards and thieves, and you're going to hopefully send them on quests. And so there's some quests that they might go on. There's a whole deck of quests. And so certain quests will have certain requirements. The Lure Artisans of Mirabar requires a cleric, a fighter, and a thief to complete. This one requires a whole bunch of fighters, and a thief, and a wizard, and a cleric. This one only requires clerics. That's one way the main way you're going to earn points throughout the game. There are also cards that will just straight up give you victory. Here's one. Before I get to that, one of the biggest selling points, the thing I love about this game, is that normally in worker placement games you have set places that you're going to place your workers. So every time you go into the game, you know, hey, I'm going to have this place, I'm going to have this place, I'm going to have this place. I want to try and get here, I want to try and get there. What makes Lords of Waterdeep so great are these buildings. So every turn, somebody's going to have the opportunity to build a building if they want to. And I really don't know why you wouldn't want to if you get to. But each building is going to have a special ability. And it becomes a placement field on the board. So I don't know if we saw the board. Here are all the spaces on the side of the board here. So as I purchase a building, I'll put a building down, and they have little tokens you can put down this corner that represents who owns the building. Because one of the benefits of owning the building is that whenever someone besides you plays there, you get something. Here you get an intrigue card. Here, boom, 2 victory points every time somebody plays at your building. Here you can choose a fighter or a wizard. Another one, 2 victory points, 2 coins. And that's if you own it. You bought it, you set it down, everybody else can go to town on it all they want, and you're going to rake in stuff every time they do. Plus, with the amount of buildings they give you, the chances of getting the same combination of buildings in the game is very, very uncommon, very rare. And so the fact that you can buy these buildings, they're set up, it just adds such variety to each game. In addition to the quests, the quests are going to be different more than likely each game. But these buildings are fantastic. The board itself has just, you know, I can get fighters, I can go hire some thieves, I can go hire some clerics. This is what makes the game. This is where all the action, the stuff happens. You know, oh look, I get 2 fighters and a wizard, but I'm going to have to let whoever owns this get a wizard or a fighter for free. No placement costs. And to me, that was just a brilliant concept. I wish I had thought of it personally. That's just a huge seller for me. The quests are also great, mainly because they're divided up. They're not just quests, but they're quests. Because they have a background. So they're like piety. This is the pious quest. This quest has to do with warfare. This one has to do with commerce. This one has to do with skullduggery. Another one for commerce. Another one for warfare. And so each one has a theme. And so, as I said, the game is Lords of Waterdeep, and you were playing as one of the Waterdeep Lords. And here they are. So you can be dealt one of these randomly at the beginning of the game. But each one says like, at the end of the game, you score 4 for each Arcana and Piety quest. So you're going to be trying to find those Arcana and Piety quests to be able to complete them. But the easy ones may not be coming up. They may be difficult to do. Maybe it's not worth it to try and get an Arcana or Piety quest. Maybe other people figured out that's what you're trying to do, and so they're trying to get them to keep you from getting it. It's a nice element. You do keep the secret throughout the game. You don't reveal it to the end of the game to collect those points. But it's just a very well thought out, a lot of fun. The fact that it's in the Dungeons & Dragons world doesn't hurt. It's not really as evident. The theme doesn't really shine through all that much. I mean, you know, this is a fighter. Doesn't really get to fight. I don't know who's going to have 20 fighter minis on hand. I'm sure some of you out there do. It might enhance it a little bit more. Their entry cards allow interaction with other players. You can help yourself, or you can hurt other players, depending on what you want to do, how you want to play them. And it's just and what's really cool about the entry cards is there's actually you have to place on the board to play them. So you place on the board, you play your card, and then after everybody else is done, then you can place your worker who had played the entry card. And like I said, I love worker placement games. I love Dungeons & Dragons. I love this combination of the game. Those buildings just really make it for me. The fact that everybody kind of has their own secret objectives they're building towards. I love that aspect of it. Again, if I can't play this often enough. I can't think of much more to say. It's a great game. It's an awesome game. If you haven't played it yet, go check it out. If you love worker placement games, it's probably one of the best ones that scratch that. Not the best one. There are a couple of others a little bit better. But this is definitely one of the better ones out there. It's very light. If you like deep, heavy worker placement games, this is probably not going to float your boat or anything like that. But definitely, in my opinion, you can't do get you too much better than this. You can, but not too much. That's why it's at my number 7, Lords of Waterdeep.
6, legendary.
Oh, so I went way old school on you. All right, that brings us to the last game we're going to talk about today, and that's my number 6 game. For those of you who've been watching since the beginning, I mentioned Ascension in the very first video we did. It was down around number 96, I believe. It used to be higher, and I said there was a game that had come out that just totally obliterated Ascension on my list, and I'll probably kick it off for next year. And that game is Legendary. Legendary is a deck builder, and it's Marvel Comics. And I could just stop there and say the end, but I'll go ahead and talk about it some more, because not everybody's into comics as I am, not everybody's into deck builders as I am. But, a card game where I can be Iron Man, and that's pretty much all you had to say. But in Legendary, you are going to be not just a hero, you're actually going to be a combination of heroes. And so you're going to have several heroes you can choose from. So, of course, you can be Iron Man. But you notice there are a lot of cards in here, and they're all Iron Man, but they have different colors because each of these cards is a different heroic aspect of Iron Man. So you have Endless Invention Iron Man. You have Arc Reactor Iron Man. You have Repulsor Rays Iron Man. Quantum Breakthrough Iron Man. And that's it. Just those 4. But anyway, each of those is like a different... So while you're using Iron Man, it's not always Iron Man who's out there. It's Iron Man using a certain aspect of his abilities. The same with Spider-Man. There's Spider-Man's in here. He was. There he is. So you have, the Amazing Spider-Man. That's the highest, his biggest ability card. You have like Web Shooter Spider-Man, Great Responsibility Spider-Man, and Astonishing Strength Spider-Man. Each. If you think, why do I have all these heroes? I'm playing with the same heroes over and over again. Well, you have a combination of 5 heroes, but each time they're using a different aspect of their personality, their strength, their heroism, to help defeat the evil mastermind. So you're going to be teaming up and you're going to fight. Maybe you'll fight the Red Skull. Maybe you'll fight Magneto or Doctor Doom. You can fight Doctor Doom. And of course, these masterminds don't just come on their own. They're going to be bringing henchmen with them. They might bring hand ninjas. I don't know. I don't know why any of these guys are actually using hand ninjas, but they're one of the henchmen you can use. There's Sentinels in here. There's mutants. The Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. There's Spider-Man's famous foes. Hydra's in here. The Skrulls are in here. So this base game, this core game, that gave you quite a bit of a spread of villains to fight. But what really is, for me, just besides it being Marvel Comics, just blew Ascension out of the water. And I will call this the Ascension Killer in my book. I think this were their schemes. So you have the mastermind. So you got Red Skull. We got Red Skull here. But why are we trying to take out Red Skull? Maybe he's just out, having a burger somewhere. No, he's not. He's planning the Midtown bank robbery. Maybe he's trying to replace Earth's leaders with killbots. Maybe he's trying to release the legacy virus. He's going to help bring on the secret invasion of the Skrulls shapeshifters. I bet you have to use the Skrulls for that one. Oh, Superhero Civil War. That's a great one. Unleash the power of the Cosmic Cube. Negative Zone, Prison Breakout. Each one of these is a different scheme that you're going to choose one for the game. And it has the victory conditions, or not the victory conditions. The victory conditions is just being the mastermind. If you beat the mastermind 4 times, you win. And it's co-op games, so everybody's going to have a chance to beat the mastermind. What their scheme does is there are certain effects, they're called scheme twists, that you're going to shuffle into your villain deck. And whenever those scheme twists come up, this card is going to tell you what happens. So, for instance, for the secret invasion of the Skrull shifters, you can put 8 of those twists in the deck, and every time one comes up, the highest cost hero from the HQ moves into the sewers of the Skrull villain. So the heroes that you're purchasing, I haven't even shown you the board yet. Let me show you the board. So as you can see, nice big board. each turn, like in most deck building games, you're going to have a pool that you can purchase from, and that's going to be down here. But unlike Dominion, where you have stacks of cards, you're going to have the individual cards laid out through here, so you can pick one of the ones that are available to you. When one's purchased, it's replaced immediately. And the villains will be advancing from the deck through the city. They're going to come in through the sewers, and they're going to advance out through the bridge, and if they escape, they get put into this pile. And most games, they have a certain condition that if a certain number of villains escape, then you've lost the game. So in the one we were just talking about the scrolls, if I have Iron Man down here and that skull twist comes up, Iron Man will suddenly be up here. Turns out it wasn't really Iron Man, it was a scroll, and now he's a villain who has to be fought. Their wounds. Wounds are similar to the curses or the other deck building games where there's an item that you can put in your deck that just acts as clogging up your deck. Bystanders, you're a hero. You want to help the innocent bystanders as well as fight the villains that are out there. KO, this is just your trash deck, just like any other deck builder game. Place for your mastermind to sit so he's defeated. Shield Agent, this just gives you extra purchasing power, similar to the Mystics of Ascension, if you're familiar with Ascension. Excuse me. As I try and fold this up. Oh, look, dead time, dead air, dead air. Legendary rocks. I'm just going to put it out there. To me, I love the comic feel to it. I love all the stuff that's there. I love the scheme twist, the schemes. There's even a Master Strike. Each villain has what's called a Master Strike ability. That's when that Master Strike ability comes up. He'll be able to attack all the heroes or do something in particular to them. Like here's for Dr. Doom. Whenever Master Strike comes up, each player with exactly 6 cards in his hand must reveal a text-style hero or puts 2 cards from their hand on top of their deck. So just ways to mess with the heroes throughout the game. It is a cooperative game, but there are points in it. So while, yes, we're all working together to beat Red Skull or Dr. Doom, we're still trying to see who can get the most points, and that person is the big hero, the ultimate hero of the game, the real winner of the game, if you will. And so if you want to play a little cutthroat style, you can actually try and keep your, cut your friends off, your fellow heroes off from getting the bigger points and making sure that you can get them yourself. I can't tell you how many times I've played this game since it's come out. Is eagerly awaiting the expansion. I think I saw they put some of the promo art. Jigsaw was one of the promo arts I've seen, so I'm assuming the Punisher is going to be one of the new villain or heroes, or anti-hero, as the case may be, in the next expansion. As this, again, I love this game. If you like deck builders, you're going to love Legendary. If you like comics, you're going to love Legendary. If you love tactical board games like miniature games, you might not love Legendary. But I do like tactical war games, and I do love Legendary at my number 6. Now I gotta pick all this up again. Alright, well that's going to be it for this episode. Next time we'll have Trinity in front of the screen so you can actually see her instead of hearing her off to the side. That's my youngest daughter. Homesick today. But anyway, this was 10 through 6, which means there are only 5 games left to go through. We'll hit those next time. And again, just thank you to everybody who's participated. And just kind of give you some insight as to what we're doing next or how we're planning next. Probably by the time this video's come up, the information will already be on the website and up on Facebook. I want to try and get that pretty soon. But Season 2 is we're going to start interactive play demos or playthroughs, however you want to call them. And so what's going to happen is we'll pick a game. Actually, you're going to pick the game. And then Mike and I will play some of the players here. And then you, the viewing audience, will be the third player. And so what we'll do is I'll take a turn, Mike will take a turn. And then we'll show you what's available for you to take your turn. And then we'll let you guys email or post comments as to what you feel the best move should be. May set up something on the Inner Storm Games Facebook page. That might be the best place to do it, and you guys can comment there, or in the YouTube in the comment sections below here in the YouTube video. You guys just comment down there below what you think that move should be. We'll see which one got the most votes, and then that'll be the move that you, the viewer, have come up with, and then we'll let the game flow as normal. So what we need to do first is we need to establish what game is going to be played. So initially I was thinking Sentinels of the Multiverse. I really think this would be a great one to start with. It's co-op, so everything can be open-handed. The villains will be available for everyone to see. This is a new version. Yes, for those of you who are paying attention, in my first video I said I wasn't sure if I was going to pick up the revised version. Yes, I picked it up for several reasons. I'll eat some crow right here. If you don't own Sentinels Multiverse, get this one. If you do have the original, you probably want to get this anyway. They've expanded the deck size up to 40 cards for the heroes. The big stuff they put on here are like they put artwork on the environment cards for like the Insular Peninsula, all those, some of the early Wagner Mars base. Those all have artwork per each card, as opposed to just that background mat they used to have. But they've changed up some of the tech. They've put in a new scaling device that's like a ampersand, not ampersand. The at symbol was an H. So it's a little H symbol. So when you see the H symbol, that counts as how many heroes are participating in the game, and so that's kind of levels it down, so people aren't just getting flat out waylaid. As long as you're playing it solo or with another person, they're going to take 1 or 2 points of damage. You're playing with 5 other people, you're going to take 5 points of damage. So that's kind of, they went back and updated the core cards with that. They also put in the counters. So you have hit points 1, 5, 10, 25 hit points. Plus they also have effects and status labels. So a hero or villain's under a certain status effect, you can actually put a little label down there to remind everybody that status effect is in play. Anyway, this is what I felt we could do. The only concern I have with this one is there are some cards where, like, draw a card and play a card. So if you, the player, had draw a card, play a card, we could draw the card. Then you have to wait and find out what that card was before you can play it. You can probably figure out a way to work around that. But at any rate, choice number 1, Sentinels of the Multiverse. Choice number 2 is Tzolk'in, the Mayan calendar. I said I love worker placement games. This one is actually, instead of getting the effect when you place a worker initially, the game has these gears, and so your worker's going to be rotating around, and then when you decide to take off your worker, that's when you get that effect. This one, again, a lot of open play, not much kept secret here. There was a deal at the beginning where you get kind of your secret, your goal, your personal goal, where you're dealt multiple cards, and then you pick one. What we would do for that is we would just deal everybody 1, and that's the one you get. That would all be open knowledge for everybody to keep things fair. So that's Tzolk'in, the Mayan calendar, as I slowly get squeezed out of shot. The last one, for those of you who enjoy SimCity, is Suburbia. This is another one where everything would be open. There are secret goals. And here again, you're dealt 2 secret goals. You keep 1. Again, this would be a situation where we deal everybody a secret goal, and you can build toward that goal. Or what we may do in if Suburbia or Tzolk'in is selected, maybe deal out multiple goals. So you have multiple ones to build to. So that way, we don't exactly know which one you're building to, but you have the option of choosing either one. But anyway, these are the 3 games that we've come up with to start season 2 with, or start season 2 for season 2. So what I would like you guys to do is to pick the 2 that you would like to see. So if you want to see Sentinels of the Multiverse and Suburbia, vote for those 2. We'll go and combine all the votes here shortly, and then we'll come back and the final video will probably be done before the votes are counted out. Next up, I might just do a small filler video that repeats all the same information. Just cut out this one part, put it out on its own, so we can get the voting started. Because it's like, for instance, if Sentinels of the Multiverse is the one that's chosen, I'd like for you guys to be able to pick what villain we fight, where we fight, and also love for you guys to be able to pick what hero you would want to be. Suburbia and Tzolk'in, not as much. You're going to choose. You're going to have those options. You just, this is the color you're going to be. Anyway, at any rate, vote for in the comments below, or you can post on the Interstorm Games Facebook page, or email me. That's rcree@interstormgames.com, and let's find out what we're doing. If it ends up in a tie, then I'll just pick one of the two, flip a coin to see which one it is. I don't think that's going to happen. But this is what's coming up next. I'm really looking. Really came back right here near the end. How about that? I'm looking forward to this like you couldn't believe. I'm really excited about this. I know Mike's excited about it. I think Trainy's going to join us. She's a little over a year old now, so I think she can grasp some of the concepts of these games. And that's it. Again, thanks everybody for staying with us, for hanging with us. This top 100 has been great for me to learn as far as like some of the editing tricks and for getting comfortable in front of the camera. This next one, this next series, we're going to get even more intense. It won't just be me in front of the camera. We'll have like shots of the games and other things coming up. We'll do like a rules run through initially. What can I say? I mean, just the usual. Check us out check out the website. Website's been updated. We've got the latest YouTube episodes are up there. YouTube's episodes. Those have been archived. We'll keep updates on exactly what's going on with season 2. And it'll. I'm just rambling now, so I'm just going to stop and wrap things up. I've been left alone on my own too long here. This is why I need Piper with me. So until next time, I'm Richard, and thank you for watching.
Number 9, Small World.
I don't know that one.